G'day and welcome to Blokesworld. In this episode, we race our 1998 Ford Falcon station wagon at the historic Lakeside Raceway in Brisbane. The event is called the Notta Grand Prix, and the idea is that you've got to spend not $1,000, that's $1,000 on a car and race it for 6 hours with a team of your mates. So in contrast to some of the memorable motor racing this iconic track has hosted since the early 1960s, today's 6-hour endurance race features a bunch of hilariously crappy cars battling just to make the distance. It's a massive amount of fun, and it's all happening right here, right now on Blokesworld.
My name's Keith Lewis, the General Manager of Queensland Raceways. Notta Grand Prix was a concept we came up with about 3 years ago, and it was really brought about to try and get families with their grandfathers and their kids and their grandkids to have the opportunity to come and take part in a fun motorsport event. Any car can come and take part. We run it under what is called our sprint rules, so hence you don't need to have a roll cage. It is not a race. We have a quickest lap time you can run of 1 minute 10 seconds or a 70-second lap, which takes out the high-speed cars, and it's pretty safe. Over the last 2 years, I think we had 10 entries to the first one and 30 into the second one and 80 into the next one. We're now running in the sort of mid-20s as entries, but we'd really like to see 30 or 40 entries here. We run it 4 times a year. We run 4 6-hour events. So the last event, somebody wins the 24-hour challenge. So we've really made a push for that family environment, for fathers or groups of workmates to get together, buy a cheap car, and then have the challenge of trying to keep it running for 6 hours around the racetrack.
Well, now you've had the rundown, let's bring it right back to the start of the day. And after a quick driver's briefing in the morning, it was time for our team's first driver, Ado, to hit the track.
I'm ready to do this.
Well, viewers, as usual, all the little 4-cylinder jobbies are all ready to go, lined up, ready to start right on time. And over here we've got a Blokesworld station wagon, not quite ready. We'll get there.
How do you feel? All right? Yep, feels good.
Got any lap time predictions?
70.
Hello! So you're looking pretty stock in here.
Stock as ever.
Stock. You got your stock. Are they your pajamas?
Got my pajamas in, got the aircon going. It's nice and cold in here, so ready for a long, good race.
Nice.
We actually did some testing, and I'll use the term a modern car with airbags and seatbelts is probably as safe as a car with a roller case and harnesses. Personally, I would much rather see my kids in a modern Toyota Corolla around here than an old HQ. I think the modern Corolla is 10 times as safe as an old HQ.
Are you Scott?
No.
Oh, where's Scott?
He's just one of the guys that helps us out, matey.
I reckon we need a Scott.
I've done it.
All right, boys.
All right, good luck.
Yeah,
There's no park break, is there?
big girl. She's just chirping around corners. You know, I love this track for the fact that it's so fast and flowing. There's no real sort of hardcore lock it up, you know, tight corners. It's a sort of track that looks easy, but if you just get one line wrong, it just wrecks you for the next couple of seconds because it looks like you're going to hit a wall. Like, I was coming up this straight, and in my brain, all I kept thinking was, oh, hang on, Smoke Garage haven't paid their invoice. And I started to do accounting work while I was driving, and before I knew it, Carousels, the end corner up there, just was onto me way too quick. I had to lock it up, but I rescued it just in time. But that's a good thing about this car. There's so much weight behind it, so as soon as it goes out a bit hoisty, you just better give it a bit of, you know, a bit of a lead full, and bang, she comes straight back into line.
Yours, I don't want to jinx it because it's only early, but I think Ado's found the gas today.
We got impact roll cages to build our roll cage, and Adam Barton, who made the roll cage for our car, he said, what sort of roll cage do you want? And I said, mate, make us one so if anything goes wrong, we can still go to work on Monday. And so what's happened is we've chucked about an extra ton of metal in that car, and the car actually sways. It's insane. It's like, I can't even explain it. It's like the first time I've ever driven a car and felt seasick. It was like going fishing deep sea in Big Chop. It's absolutely awesome. The amount of money that we would spend if we wanted to go to the V8 supercars with tickets, camping, hotel, it works out to being like the same that we spend racing our own car. I tell you what, racing your own car compared to watching somebody else race theirs, you just can't even compare the two. Best fun you can have. Right now we're going to a commercial break, but guess what? The best in the West.
G'day and welcome back to Blokesworld. We're at Lakeside Park in Brisbane with our glorious Ford Falcon station wagon racing in a 6-hour endurance event called the Notta Grand Prix. And we're not the only ones who've brought a classic piece of motoring history to the track, so right now, let's meet some of the other competitors.
My name's Tom. We're here in car 23, which is a Hyundai Accent. It's 1500cc, pure joy. And she's been going pretty well all day. She's got a big plywood front splitter. We're chewing through the front tyres. We got the balancing a bit wrong, but we're having fun. I normally race a Skyline, but just it's my street car, so I can't go too hard with that. You don't get too aggressive when you know you're going to drive it home. So yeah, no, it's really cool to get out there and not be so afraid of getting a little bit of contact. It's a really cool race series. Basically, you just get a car that's going to run. You need to get a roll cage in it and strip it out, get it as light as you can. Start tweaking as much as you can with the engine and the wheels. Find some rubber that's going to stick. And then get a good group of guys together that you know are going to keep the foot down all the way through the day. And we just come out here and you get on the track, and the first couple of laps, everybody's a little bit twitchy. You're getting used to it. You're feeling everybody else out. You don't really know how aggressive everybody's going to be. Like, you come into it thinking it's going to be pretty friendly, but by the end of it, you're just pumped. Like, I didn't want to come off.
And did you have any encounters with the Blokesworld car?
Yes, I did. They almost took me off the damn track. So it was me and the red TRX or TX5, whatever it is. He's come in between us, and like I've seen he's going to be cheeky. We were real close coming into that off-camber turn up the hill. The TX has gone for the wide line, lost it, fishtailed, and locked up and spun slightly. I've tried to come in but couldn't, and just had to bail it into the dirt. I shaved like 5 seconds off each lap after that for a good couple of laps. I need to get the heart rate back down.
All right, so yeah, we raced the Mazda 3, car number 55, blue. It's a BK 2006 model. This one had quite a bit of damage on the passenger side, so it looks like it's actually hit a pole and pushed the B-pillar in by about 1/2 metre. And so we stripped that side of it, and then we pulled that B-pillar back out and got some new doors and tried to line up as best we could, and it actually all fitted together and bolted all up, and the rest of the car is fine. So mechanically, she's A1. Put some coilovers on it, sort the suspension out, and just handling and driving really well out there. Yeah, it's pretty good track, Lakeside. So I sort of compare it a little bit to a mini Phillip Island. So Phillip Island's a really fast flowing track, and this is a pretty fast flowing track. So look, starting at the start line, you're coming onto the straight, you're in 4th gear, get to the little kink there. Most cars you can probably go through there flat, particularly at this level of motorsport. Brake pretty late into the carousel, We drop down to the third gear. You take about a wide line to a mid line, and then you try and clip the apex on the way out of the corner. And then you're still in third gear. You come out of the carousel, come up to the hump before you hit the bus stop, and you put it into fourth. You're through the bus stop, try and get as close as you can to the apex at the kink at the bus stop, and that's going to set you up nicely for Hungary. And then you're flat into Hungary, and that is an amazing corner. You need to sort of weight you down into Hungary before you brake. If you try and brake before it, you sort of get a little bit unsettled because the car is very light. So it's a really nice late brake into Hungary. Drop it into third, and then pull out, hit the apex, up to the hill, up to the eastern loop, bit of it like a double apex corner, like the southern loop at Phillip Island. So out wide, mid corner, and then try and clip the apex on the way out. And then we come onto the straight in fourth gear, and they're actually putting a bit of power down through that last corner, back onto the straight in fourth, and away you go. And we're probably hitting about 190 kilometres before we get to the carousel. So we're getting some pretty good speed out of this little SP23, I tell you.
Well, it was certainly one of the many cars that outpaced the Blokesworld Falcon at this race, but the guys in number 55 were better known for what they drove in the previous Notta Grand Prix just a few months back.
Yeah, no, the ASX, an unnamed hire company. We originally had a Toyota Starlet 30 minutes into the race, and we were having overheating, and what we thought was we blew a turbo. So we actually approached the officials and asked if we could actually do a substitution. And they said, oh, there's nothing in the rules about it, so yeah, you go right ahead. What car are you going to do? And we said our hire car. So we transferred the timing device over to the Mitsubishi ASX, and we fanged it around here for 5.5 hours. And I'll tell you what, I was actually impressed for a SUV, top heavy, but when it rained in that last hour, the stability control and all the traction control and ABS really came into play. Man, we were just absolutely killing it, and that got us from about 16th to 12th. So we jumped 4 places in that last hour, so yeah, quite interesting.
Strange days indeed. Well, anyway, we'll be back with more Blokesworld after this.
I feel like a NASCAR driver. That was sick.
Welcome back to Blokesworld at the Notta Grand Prix at Lakeside Park. It's time to hear from the rest of our race team now, and first up is Mark Brownie Brown, already a legend on 2 wheels, but he's taking to crap can circuit racing like a pig to
So camera 3, he came in and he was out there doing hot and ready laps, and he said that the time was ready to go, so every time you come around you can look down and you see what time you've done the lap before. So I think when I went out before, the best was a 1:14 or something like that. I thought, all right, I've got to get this down, I've got it down. So you're driving along, you're just looking down, glancing down like that at the timer, and clicking over, oh, next lap, got to go faster, got to go faster. So that's what happened. I got into a really good rhythm. It's like kind of felt like I had my kind of bit of swag going on, and got the lines right. And don't know, but it looked like I went down to about a 1:11. So I don't know if that's right. So now that I'm a professional race car driver, and I've got to keep my sponsors happy. I've seen that camera 3 was down there from the bottom of the drop, and for me that part of the track is the favourite part of the track. It kind of reminds me of being on a motocross bike where you got big undulating jumps and stuff like that. So, and he's had the camera tripod standing up, he's waving like this. It's like, oh yeah, righto, time to put on a show. Yeah, I basically just went in really hot, and I mean really hot. And there's the one part where you just clip the front left-hand wheel and you get around the ripple strip, and it got in too hot and I hit it, and it almost felt like I was going to flip it, and it was just like spun around once and then twice, and then I think it might have been another half as well too. So it was all for the show. I meant to do it.
Well, Brownie sure didn't win any awards for his driving this time, but they did give us one for his awesome wrapping job on the Blokesworld wagon.
The Bling Blinder. This was the car with the most chrome and the flashiest paint jobs, so congratulations to number 61.
Now I've got to say, this medal that we got for the Bling Award, This belongs to Brownie.
Yeah.
I'm new to the sport as well too, and anyone that comes and has a go, like that's what it's all about. And you know, you got little fellas here that are doing. I'm definitely going to get my son into it when he gets to a certain age. I just want to say thanks to everyone for driving courtesy, and you know, even though you're out there racing and it's full on, like it really is full on. Like you're pretty much next to each other. Everyone is like knows where their limits are, and you know, if they've got the right of way, they'll let you pass and that kind of stuff. It's a really good, safe environment to drive in.
Lakeside, going across the finish line, you're pretty much putting it into 5th gear on the stompers, holding it flat through turn 1, and then just looking for there's a 10 and a 5 marker, I think it might be. I'll just wait for that 10 marker, jam on the brakes, downshift, and then downshift again back to 3rd. Like you can feel it bite in on that first little turn. You can either do a big continuous turn, which with this rig, for me it feels better to do one big continual arc, because if you're trying to do double turn, it's like the back end steps out and you slide around a bit more, like it's full noise pretty much from that turn, chuck it into 4th, and then hold the thing pretty much 4th pinned all the way around the right-hander. And then I call it the drop away, where it's the track where it just looks like it's falling off the edge of a cliff. Jam on the brakes and downshift it into 3rd and just throw it sideways. You hit a bit of the ripple strip. You know you've done the corner good when the front left-hand wheel hits a ripple strip up to a right-hander, and that's kind of like a double. Feels like the car gets really light there and just all skatey all over the place. Just as you come down to the off that drop, put it into 4th, hold the thing flat out, and then tap the brake just a little bit as you're going through the last turn, and then just hold the thing flat out pretty much all the way straight through to turn 1 again. And that's sick.
Viewers, I got the infamous Hungry Corner behind me. Called Hungry Corner because it likes to eat cars. Done about 30 takes of this. I'm hoping someone's going to stack it behind me. It's not going to happen, so let's go to a commercial break. See you after this. Welcome back to Lakeside Park, and it's the closing stages of the 6-hour Notta Grand Prix endurance event. Now, as much as we love Fords, we'll admit that you need a pretty special mechanic to keep a 22-year-old Falcon running for 6 hours while it's being utterly flogged by some pretty average driving. Lucky for us, we've got one. His name's Mick, and he's a legend both on the salt flats and on the racetrack. And while some of us in the Blokesworld team drive every lap like it's our last and bring the car back into the pits with tyres that look like this, Stone Cold Mick punches out lap after lap with a sustainable, mechanically sympathetic driving style. And I can tell you the one thing the rest of us are afraid of, it isn't the danger and it isn't the risk of damage or injury. No, what we're afraid of most is what Mick's got to say about our driving. And here's why.
Ado went out in his typical Ado fashion. He was laying down pretty solid 140s, I think. We thought he was out getting a mail or doing a milk run or something like that. He was taking it easy. I suppose he was probably getting the feel for it again. That's his normal excuse. I know Brownie was out there about 2 minutes and he was peeling off 112, so I don't think you need that much time to settle into a car. But no, the Ranger, he was just taking it easy, I suppose. But he went all right. He did some overtaking manoeuvres, unseen before, but yeah, that was new to him. We came here last year just before Christmas and run the last of these races, the Notta Grand Prix. We didn't seem to be as quick as what some of them were. But this time round, we're passing lots more cars and maybe we've improved our form, or we've got a new member on the team here. And yeah, no, we seem to be going all right. The weather's been good. It's the rain's held off. We did get a touch of rain at the end of the last event we were here in November, it was. Got a bit of rain, that made it a little bit more interesting. I don't think it'd matter if we had a bit of rain. It'd be good. Might make a few more interesting film takes. The car probably just needs a little quick once-over after this outing. It's copping a little bit more abuse than I think it's had in the past. Probably some new brake pads, check the discs out, make sure all the rubber's all good again. These are done probably, like 20 hours of running now. So probably not too bad. Run out of $80 tyres. They seem to grip all right. Grip good enough for us. We got value out of them.
What sort of tyres are they?
Don't know. The cheapest that they could get that suited our budget. Yeah. So yeah, nothing fancy for us.
Viewers, if you know your Australian Grand Prix history, you come to Lakeside and you're going to get goosebumps because a lot has happened here in the past. Early days of Grand Prix, before they had wings, before they had electronics, this was where real racing happened. We get to come here and race a Falcon wagon. It's awesome. I couldn't have said it better myself. Now make sure you tune in next week when we go to the legendary Laguna Seca Raceway in California and get the professional race driving instruction that we desperately need in real open wheel race cars. See you then.